Question of the day. Has the CARICOM chairman Terrance Drew become a propagandist of the PNM? Drew cornered as email evidence collapses CARICOM narrative, placing chairmanship under intense scrutiny, an editorial by SKN Watchdog. Terrance Drew is now confronted with something far more damaging than political criticism. He is confronted with a document that directly contradicts the narrative that has been circulating over the past several days, the email released by Kamla Prasad-Bissessar, originating from the CARICOM Secretariat, is not ambiguous or open-ended. It clearly states that attendance at the retreat was limited to heads of government and the CARICOM's Secretary-General. That instruction is precise, deliberate, and leaves very little room for reinterpretation after the fact. What makes this situation troubling is not the existence of a disagreement, but the gap between what was documented and what ultimately unfolded. Under Dr. Drew's chairmanship, a directive that appears straightforward gave way to confusion at the highest level of regional leadership. Differing expectations emerged, explanations evolved, and a matter that should have been routine instead escalated into a public dispute that now raises questions about coordination within the organization. This is where leadership becomes central. The role of chairman is not symbolic. It requires ensuring that communication among heads of government is consistent and that misunderstandings are addressed before they spiral into larger issues. When a clearly written instruction results in conflicting interpretations across multiple leaders, it suggests that something in that chain of communication failed. The release of this email changes the nature of the discussion because it introduces a fixed point of reference. It is no longer a matter of competing accounts alone. There is now a written directive that the public can assess. That, in turn, shifts attention to how such a directive could produce such an inconsistent outcome. By making the document public, Kamla Prasad-Bissessar did not create the contradiction. She exposed it and forced a level of transparency that now demands answers. The questions that follow are not political talking points but practical concerns about process and accountability. If the instruction was clearly heads only, then the region deserves to understand how differing expectations took root, why they were not corrected earlier, and what steps will be taken to prevent a similar breakdown in the future. These are not minor details. They go to the credibility of decision-making within CARICOM itself. At its core, this issue is no longer about a single meeting or a single exchange. It is about whether the mechanisms of regional leadership are functioning as they should, and whether those entrusted with that responsibility are exercising it with the level of clarity and control that the moment demands.